y'all. This is Anna and Kel.
I'm back, y'all.
And we have a special guest today on the podcast. We have Miss Alicia Wallace. And
hey, y'all.
I have a special friendship with Alicia. She has been like a big sister to me. We used to work together. And she always welcomed me into her home and taught me a few things in the dating world and all that different stuff. But on a professional front, she's just been someone that I definitely look up to and admire. But I want her to share her story. So, Alicia, tell them about yourself.
Oh, that's like a dating question right there. So tell me about yourself. What's your 5-year plan? No, thank you so much for the love. I'm so happy to be here. I have been following Cognac Cupcakes and Conversation for some years. And one thing that I love about the two of you is that y'all are the definition of consistency. And a lot of people talk about that, but a lot of people cannot stick to it. And that's really a testament of your success to date, because you really, you have an idea and y'all know how to execute. You don't just keep it up here in the ether. You bring it to the people. So thank you for having me on here.
Thank you. And thank you for also, I forgot to mention that you have been a supporter of Cognac Cupcakes and Conversations forever. So thank you for that as well.
It's been a while.
Yes.
One of my most liked.
Say that again.
One of my most liked Instagram pictures was at one of your live events. Yeah. The one that was at
Dance Place.
You had two at the theater, but the one that was like up in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yes. So yes, tell them about yourself and all of your, relevant accomplishments to this conversation, because today we're talking about women in philanthropy. So yes, let them know.
So I guess I'll just talk about kind of what brought me to this level in my career. I never even described myself as a woman in philanthropy until I got on this session today, but I do work for a nonprofit. So I guess I do know about philanthropy, and I work for AARP, and I have a bunch of other things that I get into. But for the topics of this conversation, I'll tell you about the work that I do for AARP and how I kind of arrived here. So I got my undergraduate degree in marketing at Howard. And I remember when I applied to business school, or even to be admitted to Howard, I wanted to be in marketing because I just felt like if I could change the way Black people are portrayed in the media, then I could change the world. That was legit that's what was in my freshman essay. So I majored in marketing, and then I started my career in management consulting because I wanted to get a taste of all different types of business and not just marketing. But marketing was, it allowed me to bring like my creative side into the business world. So, and management consulting allowed me to figure out how to solve large scale problems of the world. And I just said, like, my large scale mission at the time, and still is, was to change how people see Black people. So fast forward, when I was in consulting, AARP was my client. And at the time, I was charged to develop interventions to rid the world of senior hunger, meaning people who are over 50 and are food insecure. So I was like, Dad, like, that's such a daunting task. How are we ever going to do that? A lot of people talk about child hunger, but they don't talk about senior hunger. And naturally, if a child is hungry, their parent or grandparent is probably hungry too. But that population was going untapped. So I love the work so much that I left my career in consulting and went to work for AARP. I was very passionate about the work because, to me, even though people might think that it's not really marketing related, but if you're trying to solve a problem, you have to be able to get a message out there in a clear and concise way that an audience can understand. So even though the problem at hand was hunger, at the time, I'm just like, well, if you know your audience and you really understand their situations, what drives them, and what they need, and those are the things that you learn in marketing, then I could apply those same tactics and hopefully help with the senior hunger issue. So that's how I got to where I am now. Fast forward 9 years, because I've been at AARP 9 years. I can't believe it. And I've had many different jobs there. My latest job has been to change the way people think about aging in general, regardless of what age you are. It's an initiative called Disrupt Aging. Again, I tell people I do marketing for short, because people are like, oh, okay, I kind of get that. Everything that I do has a social media element. I definitely have to understand the customer and an audience. But what I really do is break down large scale problems into like really tangible steps so people can change how they operate in their daily lives. So that's what I did for Disrupt Aging, is in terms of trying to change the way people feel about aging. So if somebody's sitting here, for example, and they covered up their gray hair like I did today with the mascara, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be on camera or not. But saying like, okay, embrace that, or it's okay to embrace all of your gray, regardless of what it is. Just be confident in how you are, regardless of your age. So that's kind of what I do for a living now. It's all nonprofit, so that means we're not here to really make money off of changing people's minds. It's some people call it social marketing, social impact marketing, cause marketing, double bottom line, philanthropy. That's basically what I do.
That is amazing. Honestly, I love what you said about how you just want to change the perception of how Black people are perceived. And especially you as a Black woman trying to make all these changes in the world like that's a big accomplishment, and that's your plate is full. So I completely like hats off to you for that.
And I just have to say, before you start your question, Kel, there are some things like Alicia didn't mention some of the places that she spoke, and she's done moderating, speaking at like Broccoli Con. She's worked with Refinery 29, that big, like, how you was just talking about with covering up your grades. Like we're all getting to that age now where, we're starting to, age gracefully like wine. And, sometimes that comes out in different ways, like your hair. And I remember watching you give a speech once at our job, and you were talking about how, people were saying J-Lo looks good for, 50. I don't know if she was 50 yet at the time, but almost 50. And why do we have to say looks good for, or looks
her age, when it comes to aging? Yeah.
And just more so embracing aging. But Kel, you was about to ask a question.
Yes, no, girl, you made a really good point. Alicia, you need to speak on it, girl. It is time.
I'll toot my own horn.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where all the places I done been at.
Shoot it.
Okay. Last year I did Girl Boss. That got like 1 million something views. The Girl Boss Instagram account. Essence, New York Times. Create and Cultivate, Broccoli City Conference, Forbes Under 30. I wasn't featured, but I was there speaking. And coming up this year, I'm probably gonna repeat some of those same brands. Refinery 29 was another big one. Some of the campaigns that I mentioned have won like Webbies and things like that. So yeah, I need to do more about like trying to wear my accolades on my sleeve, especially where appropriate. But it's been pretty cool. I like going out and speaking, especially on behalf of AARP, and then inserting myself and my personal stories as they fit, because people think that I wouldn't work there, or somebody like me wouldn't work there. They wouldn't think that I am 37 years old. And
yes,
I'm like,
yes. Keep on it.
Yes. So I'm like, no, we're going to talk about these issues in a real and relevant way. it's just given me a platform to just to continue to speak. And I have a big announcement that's related to that I'll share at the end of the show.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yes. Well, so talk a little bit about what you have, some of your initiatives that you have been working with AARP, which is something that you mentioned was the disrupt aging. So how is that working to bridge the gap between the millennial and the boomer generation?
Yeah, so disrupt aging is really cool. The model mission is to change beliefs so people can choose how they live as they age. So we're changing outdated beliefs and sparking new solutions. So what's an outdated belief? An outdated belief for me was that I was at 37, I was supposed to be super serious, corner office, just like out of a movie like The Best Man or something like that, and power suited up, or I was supposed to have like 3 kids on my hip and like just be like so ran over because motherhood's so stressful. I just thought it was one or the other. I didn't think I was gonna be just being lighthearted and free and having fun with my friends. Like, I did not think 37 years old was like that. And embracing disrupt aging, to me, we're disrupting the way people think about aging. So that campaign has a lot of social components attached to it, where you might see women featured that are breaking the mold regardless of their age. We featured a little girl who was 11 years old and leading the protest for the Flint water crisis. And we featured an 80-year-old pole dancer. Either way, they're women who are breaking the mold, and it doesn't just have to be women either. We've had feature articles about men who are breaking the mold of fatherhood. It just runs the gamut. And when I mentioned disrupt aging, people in AARP, people are like, oh yeah, my grandmother gets that magazine. But then when I start telling them about how everybody is probably going to live longer, that means you're going to have to work longer. That means you may actually have the freedom to arrange your life however you see fit. You don't have to hit all of your lifetime milestones before you're 30. So it doesn't just have to be high school, college, career, marriage, house, baby. You can do that in whatever order you want and however many times you want. So that's really the theme behind disrupt aging. And when I bring that message to younger people, then they're like, oh no, I get it. Like, I could dig that, and it makes sense that AARP would be a part of that. And then I usually tie in like a financial planning aspect to that too, because if you're gonna be living longer and you have all these goals, then you probably gotta keep your money up too. So yeah, part of it.
I went to a disrupt aging dinner once, and that's when I first learned that we're supposed to actually live. Like, there's going to be more of us living to see 100. There's going to be more, centennials? Centenarians, yes. So, bringing it back to like just this age, like as you come into your 30s, you realize that it's just not about you anymore. Like we say on the podcast, it's not just about us anymore. So what are other ways that you choose to give back to your community?
Oh yeah, I'm all about that. It really goes in spurts for me, depending on what phase I'm in life. When I was 26, well, really 22 to 26, I was at happy hour every night of the week. Like, I was just out. We were out.
You was in
what you said?
You was in these streets.
In the streets, like DC. Do top shelf open bar.
Okay.
So, like, it was a mission. I would literally like work out and then try to make it to happy hour by 7. You know how hard that is?
Yeah.
And it'd be back at work at what, 9?
Yes. But wouldn't miss a beat,
Okay.
You have all that energy. So, but I exhausted that really quickly. So by the time I was 26, I was like, I live here, but I'm not from here. I'm from Massachusetts. Or I'm not from Maryland, DC, for all the worldwide listeners. I'm from Massachusetts. And I was like, well, what do people do here? Like, I need to get involved in the community. Like, I need to be contributing to the area that I'm taking so much from. So I started coaching a cheer team. I started coaching a youth cheer team. I became utterly obsessed with it. Fundraising for it. I was probably doing 35 hours a week to that cheer team, plus my full-time job. But the little girls, they were so motivating. So they were like ages 8 to 14. I did that for about 6 years. After that, I definitely volunteer with my church. Shout out to Alfred Street Baptist Church.
Okay.
Where our pastor is the Reverend Dr. Howard John Wesley. So I volunteer with my church a lot, anything from their young adult ministry to their community outreach. To me, it's just, I guess it's just how I was raised. I don't even look at it like, oh, I want to help the unfortunate, or oh, I want to help this, or like, I started this whole conversation with like my own personal mission. And I think I just lived that. And I just like to be out, doing the best I can in all areas of life.
And that's a testament to not even just like you living it, but I feel like women in general, we've kind of always led with service and community in the forefront. And, before even entering into the workplace, we always had that kind of, mentality of leadership and service. Like, let's nurture the community. Let's pour back into the community. So it's in us by nature. And I wonder if women had more leadership positions, do you believe that we would see an increase in charity?
We definitely would see an increase in the amount of money that goes to charity. I think that's the people in leadership hold the purse strings for that. And that is often what's needed. I haven't personally seen like a shortage of volunteers, but there is a shortage of money. And even if you have volunteers, it still costs money to run a program. And I think more women in leadership, I was just on a call with my company's HR, and I had a mug that said Jackie Robinson Foundation. I'm on the scholarship selection committee for Jackie Robinson Foundation. That's my current community service that I do.
That's right. Toot.
Yeah, so I review applications for students who are going to college and they want the scholarship. I got the scholarship when I was in high school, and I was just happened to have the mug in front of me at work one day, and I was like, oh, I'd just like to draw your attention to the Jackie Robinson Foundation, because I knew there were people in the call that could write checks. So yeah, if more women are in leadership, then perhaps they'll be more generous with their money. I think people are willing to give time. But what does the Bible say? Give your time and your treasure.
Yep. And God loves a cheerful giver.
You do.
I also, it's funny, is to, elaborate a little bit more on that. I was looking into research about like women and how we handle philanthropy. And I saw an interesting perspective where they said that women will actually have more of an increase in the financial perspective when it comes to philanthropy, because they're getting it from multiple sources. One, they will be getting it from spousal support. So they'll have more of an income with that. And then also like generational support, I guess. So I think that we would have more of a bigger effect from a financial perspective when it comes to philanthropy and women and giving back in service. So I think, I think it could be.
So to piggyback on that question, I want to know, do you believe that gender matters when it comes to philanthropy?
I think men and women approach it differently. I can't remember who it was, but I met a young man through ELC, which is Executive Leadership Council. It's a program that trains like up and coming Black professionals on how to get to the C-suite. So I've done like some of their training at various levels. But I remember I was at one of their conferences and we were talking about philanthropy and giving back. And he said he grinded until he was 40, 45 years old and then gave back, because he was like, well, how can I give back when I don't have any money? So he looked at it like it was a sacrifice or something that may have held him back from where he was at 45, but it didn't mean that his heart wasn't there, because now that he's at a place where like he can substantially like make it rain to whatever charity he wants, like he's doing that, versus some people, and I don't know if it's a gender thing, but I do know a lot of young men that like they really, really, really grind and they don't think about anything else until their life levels out.
I know men who do that too. Not to cut you off, but I know I had a conversation with someone, even like full transparency, about CCT and how we try to always find ways to give back. And initially we were trying to give back financially when we first began. And he was like, don't give back when you just starting out. Like, you give back later when you have money to give. Like, and he, you know, he's of a certain age as well too. So it's funny that you say that.
And I think, you know, there's no right or wrong way, but the world is changing, and the way people and consumers even interact with brands, it's like my marketing hat that just naturally comes back on. The way people interact with the brands, people want to know a brand story. They want to know their purpose. They want to know their impact on the world. They want to know their carbon footprint. They want to know who they voted for, who they gave money to. So it's not just all about like grinding from, you know, point A to point G now. Like now people want to know how you're living out your company values from the start. And so we could take Bumble for example, you know, like the dating app. Yo, she's like worth billions of dollars right now. She gave back from the start. Like from the start to like women's organizations, women's charities, because they allegedly they treated her like crap at Tinder. So she wanted to make the opposite of that, and people have been trying to buy her out, sabotage her, everything. And she knew that no, Bumble is going to have a double bottom line. It's going to be part of our core values. We don't want a toxic platform. We even have the friend app, the friend side of Bumble. So she kind of was like walking her talk from the jump. And the companies that are most successful now, anybody from like Warby Parker, that's male owned, Bumble is woman owned. So there probably is a gender difference, but it might more so be a generational thing.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. And I feel like I love a comeback story, so I'm gonna have to look more deeper into Bumble's story. Yes,
that is definitely dope.
Yeah, Bumble is going public very soon, or if they didn't, maybe it was like last week. It's not very soon, so you could get their IPO. Like, no, I did miss it. I missed it. You're right. It was last week.
Okay.
But it shot up 74% in a day, stock price.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not too late though. It's gonna go back down, then you get it, and then it'll rise up again. But yeah, she people didn't even think she was gonna make it that far to take her company public, and she did that with philanthropy along the way. I never really I always give money. I give money to people at the corner. I give money to people selling Girl Scout cookies. Like, that's just how I am. That's how I was raised.
I wonder if it's more of a thing putting on your marketing hat. I feel like philanthropy probably maybe the thing that's holding it back is messaging in a sense. Like, it doesn't, like we talked about before, it doesn't always have to be a monetary donation. It could be just your talents, your time, or you sharing your resources or your information, or if you already have a platform. There's so many different ways to give back. Yeah. And I think people, when they think of philanthropy, they automatically, I got to have $50,000 to be able to donate. So I think we should think a little bit more into how we are messaging how to present it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there's tons of different ways now to do it. It doesn't just have to be, serving food on Thanksgiving. Like, there's a ton of different ways. Like, you guys are doing this show, giving content to people for free. Mm-hmm. To the people, like, that to me, that's a form of giving back. And just everything that's gone digital these days, like charitable organizations really have not been hurting for money since the pandemic, because people have been digging deep, and they've had to change the way they give out their services. Food banks are being, like, people are lining up at food banks, like, because they really need it, but they're finding a way to get the supply in, even with restaurants being closed. So that means that people are still giving. So tons of different ways.
Yes. So speaking of messaging, everybody has like a quote or a mantra that they live by. Mine's personally is Coco Chanel. In order to be irreplaceable, one must be different. Is there a quote that you kind of like live by, or a motivation?
Yes, there is. Y'all are gonna die. My quote is by none other than Deion Primetime Sanders, and it goes like this: when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you play good, and when you play good, they pay good.
Okay.
That's my quote.
Yes.
That's my quote. And then honestly, like, I have some stuff on my whiteboard right now. It says, tell your mind what to think, tell your feelings how to feel, tell your body how to react. I'm all about.
Let me write that down. Hold up. Where's my pen?
That's by Reverend Ike. You can find him on YouTube. So is tell your mind what to think, tell your feelings how to feel, tell your body how to react. And that's just about getting in the positive mindset. My favorite book is The Four Agreements.
Yes,
The Four Agreements different. So Kel, the first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. So even like the first mantra that I have, like, that's an affirmation. Like, look good, feel good, play good, pay good, or just even getting your mind right in terms of just speaking nothing but positivity, or the things that you want to happen out of your mouth. So any type of little affirmation that aligns with that is going to be my affirmation.
Yes, I wrote that down. I was still writing. I'm sorry. I was still writing the quote down. I love all of that. And affirmations, me and Kel are very big on affirmations. The older you get, the more you got to really speak things into existence and believe in it, because, life. So I want to know, do you have a 60-second love message that you could give to just women in entrepreneurship, or just women in philanthropy, in the line of work that you do? You're a powerhouse in the making, history maker in the making. So, like, give us a 60-second love message to all the ladies out there for the month of March.
Sure. My dad told me one of the best traits that you can have is to make somebody else feel good about themselves. So I love that we're leaving this off with a 60-minute love message. And my message really is to give yourself grace and to listen to yourself, like the God within you, to lead you to your purpose, to your passion, to, even if you don't feel like you know what that is, like, listen to that more than you do social media, probably more than you even did my advice today. Listen to what's inside of you. I think we oftentimes ingest other people's thoughts all day, every day, and it makes it hard to decipher what the will for our own life is that's placed in our hearts by God. So I would say, give yourself grace, give your time to stay still, and be able to trust yourself that you're on the right path, because everything always does work together for good. And don't be so hard on yourself if you're feeling like you're scrolling down your timeline and somebody else is seemingly farther along in their journey than you are, because once you're focused on yourself, those things won't even bother you. And if anything, you'll be happy for that person, and then that will come back to you.
Yes. Because, like I always say, Comparison is the thief of joy.
Of all joy. Yeah.
So yes, I love that message. Kel, you was about to ask a question.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I really love that message too, especially when you said to give grace. I know I probably will talk about this earlier on the show about giving myself, having to slow down and take moments in and give myself grace. So I can definitely relate to that. But even more so is when you were talking about, even if you don't know what you're doing and you need to just be silent, you will be surprised the message that you will find in silence. I was just looking at a Netflix series, Guide to Meditation. And on the Guide to Meditation, they were doing, it was one about like pain and how to like bring yourself back down from pain. And it was talking about the part when you're in the silence and you're actually you're more aware, and you'll be able to see and hear and take in more information of what your true presence is in that silence. And I think for me, when I went through what I went through, I was, I had moments where I was just like staring at a wall and I was like, I just feel so, and I couldn't find the words to figure out how I felt. And then I spoke with my therapist and she was like, stare at the wall. That's what you need right now. This is that moment that you'll have the clarity and you'll have a deeper understanding of what you need or the answers that you're trying to find. So you will find answers and clarity in silence and not listening and taking and absorbing everyone else's junk around you. So I think that was definitely a powerful message.
I agree.
Lastly, is there anything else that you would like to share?
Yeah. So the drum roll announcement is that I co-authored a book. And it's going to be out August 16th. And I talk a little bit, not August 16th, April 16th. And I talk more in depth about some of the things that I talked about today. My chapter in the book is called Lessons of an Overachiever. And I talked through a lot of the lessons / failures. I'm okay with calling them failures, whatever, that I've learned, that I've endured throughout the way, all the way from like my 20s to where I am in life right now. The title of the book is called Significant Women Share Lessons in Leadership. So there's a group of powerhouse women who share their own stories about how they've gotten to where they are in their career. And I'll be sure to share the link with Cognac, Cupcakes, and Conversations.
Yes, yes, please do.
So you all can get it. It's super like kind of scary because I've had like a story in my head for a while, but I just didn't know how to share it. I haven't even told my mom yet. I haven't even told a bunch of people because I wanted it to be my own thoughts. That goes back to my last point. I wanted it to be my own thoughts. If I was like scrolling through, seeing how everybody else wrote their books, seeing how everybody else wrote their chapters, or trying to figure out the right way, I felt I wasn't going to tell as authentic of a story as I wanted to. So it's my first time being published, and I'm excited about it.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I can't wait to read the book. Definitely can't wait to read your chapter because you saw Kel head roll back Dutty wine because that is speaking to her spirit right now. Lessons of an Overachiever, and I can identify with that too. So I am so excited. I'm so happy for you. That is amazing, and it just shows that there's so much more to come. Like Bevy Smith is someone that I've been like really following lately, and I'm reading her book or audiobook, listening to her book. And I love how she starts the book off saying it gets greater later. And you are just, I mean, you still young, but like you're just a testament for girls that are in their early 20s that think that 30, like late 30s and 40s is, like towards not the end of life, but like the end of the fun part of life.
Right.
Like you're just another testament physically and, emotionally and just speaking, you're just a testament to that. It's just the beginning, and it really does get greater later. And girl, you just fabulous. I just had to snap into the mic. You are just fabulous. I'm just so excited, and you help us to feel like we got more to look forward to, because unfortunately at 33, Kel's 32, going on 33 this year, like we still have some of that within ourselves, like, oh God, I haven't done this, and it's just like, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So.
Y'all are on the right track. Like, y'all been on the right track. I am not worried about the two of you. Like, your spirit and your energy is just there, and it shows up in your work. So I don't even have any advice for the two of y'all. Like, y'all are doing good, and you're learning life the right way along the way. Like, all the little down moments and all the little lessons, like, it's all good. It's gonna be all good. Yeah, that's the only thing that I know. It's gonna be all good.
It's gonna be all good. Amen to that. Yes. So where can everyone follow you?
Oh yeah, my Instagram and LinkedIn is where I'm most active. So my Instagram is I am Alicia Wallace, and LinkedIn is Alicia Wallace.
Hey, all right, yes.
And drop the name of the book one more time.
The name of the book is called Significant Women Share What Matters Most. And my chapter is called Lessons of an Overachiever by Alicia Wallace. Currently almost still an overachiever, but
you're recovering.
That part's probably not gonna go anywhere about me, but I recovering, that's what it is, right? Recovering.
And April 16th is the day.
April 16th. It'll be all over my social media. I have to get y'all to shoot some content. I gotta shoot some content for it for the launch. So yeah, I'll be rolling out my little pre-launch. Everybody has to buy it on the 16th though, because we're trying to get that bestseller status.
Yeah.
So you got it from me. I'm buying it on the 16th. And
and I should say the 16th, it's the Kindle version is out the 16th. The paperback is going to come out a few weeks later, and I might even do a promo about both days. So okay, but I'll let y'all know. Yeah,
we got you either way.
And get this, woman-owned publishing company, and the proceeds of the book go to charity.
Full circle. Full circle.
Yes.
Full circle. Well, thank you, Alicia. Yes, just so much greatness in this conversation, and y'all make sure y'all follow I am Alicia Wallace.